Today on the channel, we kick off San Diego Comic-Con 2025 recap videos with possibly the most controversial one, with the return of LJNs with Mattel and, of course, the big rubber guys.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for the beginnings of San Diego Comic-Con 2025 recap videos. I will be diving into a lot of the toy lines, giving my thoughts, typical to my toy news videos, but so much to cover coming out of San Diego Comic-Con. Of course, hopefully you guys, and especially you gals out there, hopefully you enjoyed the recap videos that were on the channel over the last week or so. We're going to fill it out with some recap of the news and some of the highlights and things that interested me that hopefully interested you, as we always do say. But we're going to kick off this series here, talking San Diego Comic-Con as far as the big rubber guys and, of course, LJNs, who Mattel now owns the license to LJNs. Should walk that back. WWE owns the license to LJNs. We'll get into all of it here, and I will say this is probably going to be a controversial video. I think there's going to be some people, once I get done saying all the stuff I'm going to say here, they're going to be flaming me in the comments. It's going to happen. I can feel it. It is what it is, but I always say this is my opinion. You can have your opinion. It's just as right as mine. It's just one man's opinion, and this is my true thoughts on what we saw there as far as the big rubber guys and LJNs. And of course, big rubber guys, the Major Bendy's crew was not at San Diego Comic-Con. They did do a video up on YouTube. Check it out. I believe it's on their Collect Major YouTube channel, recapping stuff that's coming from the big rubber guys, Major Bendy's, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to give the highlights as far as big rubber guys in this very video here. But of course, we got to start with the LJNs. That's where we got to begin here. Of course, 2 days, a day, whatever, before San Diego Comic-Con, there was images coming out that they had the big LJN style packaging there. Of course, I got my picture inside there. I think everybody else did at San Diego Comic-Con. But we knew something was up. We knew the return was coming. And about a week before that, there was some things going around the old interwebs about WWE buying the LJN name. Well, you knew where there's smoke, there's fire. All things came together, and voila, the returns of LJNs. It's like really feeling like retros a decade ago, or what is time, once again, as we like to say, 5 years ago, probably. I don't know. You know what I mean. But it feels like now we're getting the rise of the LJN style figures, where we saw the huge rise of the retros. I got to tell you, I think there's a lot of retro burnout. I hear it in the comments all the time. So I think retros maybe are getting displaced a little bit by the big rubber guys of the world, the LJN figures of the world. We're seeing Latuni jumping in, rumors of other companies possibly jumping in as well. So I think we're going to see the big rubber guy style here in the future, and we'll see. Will that resonate like the retros did? Obviously, different price points going on for the most part. And once again, we're going to dissect all of that right here. But this might be a little controversial to some of you guys and you gals out there. But of course, me being a kid back in the 80s, LJNs were my first wrestling figures. I talked the story about my first ever figure was Outback Jack LJN. I always feel like, and you probably feel the same way about whenever you grew up, but I grew up right in between the LJNs and the Hasbro, so I got to play with both as a little kid. Had a lot of fun, a lot of hours spent playing with those, so those obviously resonate with me to this day. Nothing more so than the LJNs. That is, when I think of wrestling figures, that's what I go back to. You always remember your first, as I always do say on the channel as well. But LJNs are officially back via WWE and via Mattel. Obviously, WWE buys the license. They let Mattel use it. Bada boom, bada bing. We're off to the races right there. Now, there did come some news that, of course, Matt Cardona, of course, of Major Bendy's, the big rubber guys, LJN name was up for sale. They put an offer in, and then I didn't counter offer. Whatever the business dealings was, they were going to try to buy the LJN name, which would have been pretty awesome. Obviously, competing against TKO Mattel, they're not going to win that race. So WWE does own the LJNs now once again. So all is right in the world. Some people might say that. Some people might differ on that as well. But LJNs are back via Mattel, and we saw that at San Diego Comic-Con. So we'll dive into it here. Let's go through my notes. Let's go through the pictures. Let's dive into all this kind of stuff here. And I guess we'll go, they were debuted officially at the San Diego Comic-Con panel by John Cena. Now, one of my guesses was John Cena was going to be on that panel. he kind of was in a roundabout way. He sent in a video. I figured with him being there for Peacemaker, he would have made it. Probably had some different travel, different meetings, something going on. He couldn't be there, but he did send a video, so he was kind of on the panel. CM Punk was the surprise on the panel. I believe he was the surprise last year too, or maybe he was announced last year. Either way, CM Punk was there, but John Cena did officially announce LJNs are back and they are exclusive to Target, which is a huge, huge shock to me personally. I thought for sure these would have been a Mattel Creations exclusive. It makes a lot more sense in my mind, and I guess we'll see what happens in the future, if that was the right move, the wrong move, or where it ends up going. But it is a Target exclusive, and my guess is when I heard Target, I thought it would be $24.99. We found that out officially the next day when they did go up on Target for pre-order. $24.99 is a heck of a deal for an LJN style figure, but you got to think once again, mass-produced, WWE Mattel, playing a different game than the Latoonies and even the Major Bendies out there. Price points are going to be a little bit different. Obviously, they're going to make a lot more of these figures. So you got to do the math on it at the end of the day. But $24.99 is a good price. It is actually cheaper than an Ultimate Edition when you think about it for a bigger figure. Now, of course, I know I can hear somebody out there saying, well, they're dog toys. They're just rubber. There's no movement. Exactly right. But it is a big package. And that's why I thought Target traditional retail might not be interested in it, because of the big footprint these will have. Obviously, they can move the pegs around, do some different stuff. You know, Ultimates are pretty big as well. So there's room. They can find room for these. And Target's going to take a chance on these. They're going to say, hey, we got these as an exclusive. We're going to run with this. So it'll be interesting how retail reacts to this one, because me putting my business hat on right now, all those kids, there's no kids that grew up playing LJNs. Come on, let's be honest. Somebody's going to say, well, my kid played with mine. Okay, well, few and far between. Most kids aren't going to resonate with LJNs. This is going to be for the adult collectors out there. And a lot of adult collectors would like to order online. And apparently it shows, because pre-orders did sell out on these LJNs. I wouldn't fret. I wouldn't be concerned. I've heard people selling their pre-orders on eBay for hundreds of dollars. I wouldn't do that. They're going to be in the stores. I think you'll be able to track these down. I don't think it'll be hard. But it is going to be a big footprint, $24.99. It's going to be very interesting to see how these move at retail, because I don't see little Timmy walking into the aisle and saying, oh my gosh, here's this big rubber guy, John Cena. And then you see a John Cena Ultimate. They're going to say, well, I could play with this Ultimate a little bit better. I don't know. Hopefully it can convince a whole generation of kids, like it did for me, that these were fun to play with. But I think once you go back, or once you go forward to new technology stuff, it's tough to go back. Like personally, a perfect example for me is you're playing PlayStation 5 or whatever they're up to now. It's hard to sometimes go back to the original Nintendo with 2 buttons and stuff. It's just, you have the nostalgic factor, but then you're sitting there playing it and you're like, you know, maybe this isn't as fun as I remembered it being. Maybe that's just my opinion once again. I don't know. But I think the hardcores like myself, we're going to love this kind of stuff. It's just the new fans that they're going to have to bring into this to be successful, because let's be honest, most kids that collected LJNs, they're out of wrestling figures. They're everything. They're out of it all. However, you could see them with their grandkids or their kids out at the store. They see it. Maybe they have a little bit of FOMO, a little bit of nostalgia. They pick it up. I saw personally that in the aisle at Walmart when the Origins line first started hitting. I saw a dad with his kids, and he saw that, and he ended up picking up a figure just based on his nostalgia. I saw it, his working, talking to his kids right there in the aisle, which I thought was really cool. Have to imagine we'll see some of that with the LJNs as well. But going to be interested to see where this one ends up going as far as business. I could see these going to deep clearance. We see the Legends line going down to like $6 a lot. We could see some of these LJNs go the same way. But we're going to see where it goes. I am worried about the sales and clearance on that, and I'm worried about the large footprint at retail. We'll see what happens there, though. The only way you're going to find out, I guess you got to try. But we'll see where that ends up going. But it is Target exclusive, not Mattel Creations, at least at this time. You never know what might happen, though. We've seen a lot of Target stuff go on Mattel Creations. We're starting to see Walmart with supposedly more Walmart stuff going to Creations as well. So maybe you'll be able to buy both of them there, especially those that don't have Target stores in their area, overseas, something like that. So we'll see where that ends up going. But let's dive into Series 1. Series 1 is going to be John Cena, Dusty Rhodes, and Logan Paul. Which one of these guys does not belong? Logan Paul, there was a lot of groans saying, why would he be in Series 1? Business hat on. I could see there's a lot of Logan Paul fans out there that maybe aren't fans of wrestling in general. They want to buy this Logan Paul. They want to represent a little Logan Paul. I could see that. No matter what we think of him, he is a huge influencer in the world, so I got to think some people will want him. I would have to imagine. I don't know if he would be my choice for Series 1, in all honesty, but we'll see where that ends up going. Dusty Rhodes is a heavy hitter. Love him in the polka dots. Now, we did get one from the big rubber guys not too long ago, So you're going to have to compare between the two, which one you do prefer. There's going to be a lot of people making choices. We know how that goes as well. We will compare those at the table when the time does come, as you can imagine there. But Dusty feels like a missed opportunity from LJNs way back when. Very cool to get him in this line. And then John Cena, it's the year of Cena, obviously. Makes sense they stick him in here. But once again, doesn't really feel LJN era, but that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to give you some of that dash of LJN era, but get current superstars. And John Cena is a nice bridge between the Dusty Rhodes and the Logan Pauls, I do think. So that is Series 1, but one missing from Series 1. Now, if you guys were there at San Diego, and I showed the pictures as well, on the back of the karting, the big display unit where you can take your picture of yourself in there, they showed Hulk Hogan going to be in Series 1. Well, Hulk Hogan was pulled out of Series 1. Obviously, he did pass away on Thursday. That was the day of the panel. It was a little bit embarrassing. I was at the panel, of course, and, it's like the elephant in the room, of course, Hulk Hogan passing away. The night before, they did, Steve Ozer from Mattel did show some stuff that wouldn't fit the panel. One of those was an Ultimate Hulk Hogan, and I think they didn't want to bring up any boos or any issues with the Hulkster. It's a weird deal, and say what you want about the Hulkster. I say it all the time on the channel. I was a Warrior guy. I was agreeing with Bobby Heenan back in the day. There's a lot of people that loved Hulk Hogan, but in the last few years, there's a lot of people that have turned against Hulk Hogan, and they didn't want the controversy. Whether or not it creates cash is to be determined. They didn't want the controversy, so they announced that Ultimate Hulk Hogan the night before. But then the next day, they had Hulk Hogan, of course, for LJN. They decided not to show that, not to say anything about it. And I felt bad for Sam Roberts because, like I said, it was the elephant in the room. They had to mention it, and there was a couple of people in the back just overwhelmingly booing, going crazy. I mean, it wasn't even an hour since we'd heard the Hulkster died. It's like, I get it. Say what you want about the guy. Feel how you want. I don't care. I'm never going to tell anybody how they need to feel about something. It's your own opinion. Feel how you want to. But, if he died, give it a day, give it a couple of days. This wasn't the time to start there booing. And it's like, you could tell Sam Roberts is like, really? Come on. I mean, really? It's an hour. Wait. Anyways, I guess you want to boo, you got to boo, you got to do what you want to do. But it really stopped a lot of that Hulk Hogan talk. But Hulkster was shown for Series 1. He did not go up for pre-order as part of Series 1. I don't know where that's going to end up going. Is it going to be pulled forever? Is it going to be a later drop? What are they going to do? They're going to have to figure something out, as the figure has been produced, I believe, or at least is in the process of being produced. So where that Hulkster goes, will it join the zombie line with that Hulk Hogan figure from way back when? I don't know where that ends up going, but they did show Series 2, and they started off with a heavy hitter, one of the heaviest, and I'm going to talk about him in a lot of videos this week in the San Diego Comic-Con recap. It is Jesse the Body Ventura. If anyone was made for an LJN line, it is Jesse in the beautiful suit, the pink suit, man, playing all the hits right there. They did keep him in that same pose, which is okay because it is a different take on that pose. And I want to talk about poses and these figures a little bit more once we get through the list here. We got the Ultimate Warrior. You can never go wrong with the Ultimate Warrior. Obviously, I'm biased. King Kong Bundy in Series 2 as well. Very similar to the Hogan. We'll talk about that here in a second. And then Stone Cold Steve Austin looked absolutely amazing. I was blown away by that figure. Looks really, really good. That's going to be in Series 2. It sounds like next year, early next year. And then they did say the future. We're going to have CM Punk and we're going to have Jey Uso. So once again, mixing in some modern talent with some of the classic talent. If you want the Mattel LJN line to be successful, we're all going to have to, suck it up and say, hey, we need more of these Logan Pauls, CM Punks, and Jey Usos in this line. And they'll pepper it out with the Coco Bewares, I'm sure, and some of those characters along the way. But they're going to have to move the needle forward to fill out lines and expand the brand is their hope. It is a business after all. We have to remember that there. But the one thing, and this is going to be the controversial part of this, I absolutely hate that they are re-releasing basically Hulk Hogan, King Kong Bundy, and the Ultimate Warrior. Now, I know somebody's blowing back at me already. Guess what? A lot of toy lines do it. I totally understand it. Playmates wrote the book on it. How many times they re-released Ninja Turtles, things like that. I just have never been a fan of that as a whole, but I understand it. I understand why Mattel is going to do this. There's a lot of people that want that Ultimate Warrior black one. They want that in their collection. I totally get it. Everybody should have that in their collection. It's my favorite figure of all time. So now it will devalue the old one a little bit. Maybe not terribly, but a little bit. But you're basically re-releasing it in a brand new packaging, all that kind of stuff. But it is basically the same figure for the most part. Obviously, once again, you'll be able to tell the difference. But for a lot of people, they're going to say that's an itch that scratches for $25 compared to $5,000 or whatever the mint on card example is of that one at this day and age. I just wish. I have no problems re-releasing same color, same gear, all that kind of stuff. But instead of having Warrior like this, Could we have put Warrior like this? Could we have done something? Could we have him in just a little different pose? Just let's make it different. Let's make the hardcore fans even happier like myself. And I go, people are going to say you're gatekeeping, all this kind of stuff. Say whatever you want. I just want for my shelf, if I put those two together, I want them to look just a little bit different. It gives it a little bit more magic. It feels a little bit more special when it is different than the last one. Now, Hulk Hogan here. Hulk Hogan, I should say that Ultimate Warrior was Steve Ozier's personal Ultimate Warrior. I don't believe it was the original or the LJN version of that Warrior. So we got to take that into account. Hulk Hogan, same position. The most famous figure of all time is that Hulk Hogan. They are basically straight up re-releasing that. However, they added the hot dog color skin tone. I like that. And I'm sure there's going to be some differences on the Warriors too. So you'll be able to see a little bit of difference. But it goes down to positioning. A Hulkster's like this, you know. Can we put him like this? Can we give him something like that? Just a little tweak on a classic design would be absolutely amazing. I think I would have loved it a heck of a lot more if they would have done that. King Kong Bundy, same kind of thing. Can we put him with just the 5 hand up in the air? Something different from his LJN, because for me, personally, I feel like I've been there. I would have liked to have seen some tweaks, something different. That's just me there. Maybe it's too nitpicky. I don't know, but I do think that would have been a little bit more special if they could have said, oh, it's just like that original Hogan, but better. It's like that original Warrior, but better. They fixed his skin tone. They gave him a better positioning in his hands. I think that would have been exciting. I would have loved to see that. I know I'm probably in the minority on this because, let's be honest, a lot of collectors that are still here today, you know, didn't collect LJNs, or there's very few and far between that were still collecting from the LJN days, let's be honest. So I know I'm not totally preaching to the choir on that, but it does disappoint me a little bit. I would have liked to see something different, and I heard it from many people. Well, they're going to make more Hogans. They're going to make more Warriors. There's a million Hogan Warriors they can make. Why not do the first one just a little bit different? But it is what it is. That's the way it's going to go. But it'll be very interesting to see where they go with some of these re-releases, because it does take a little of the specialness off for me personally there. Another thing I'm not a huge fan of these is black chase cards. It's not that big a deal. I'm not going to get the black chase cards. I am an Ultimate Warrior guy, you know that, so I will track down the black carded Warrior, the blue carded Warrior, and a loose Warrior. For all intents and purposes, looks like the figures are going to be identical, blue, black. It's almost like the Mattel Creations Coliseum collection figures we've had with the blue and black chases. So it's a little extra meat on the bone there to sell some extra LJN figures. It makes sense. It is 2025. We see that with a lot of toy lines in this day and age. So it's not the end of the world. But then they take it an extra step with, of course, has the classic LJN posters inside. There's going to be a standard poster, a chase poster, and a rare chase poster. Now, me, I don't need anything with these posters. As a kid, I love the posters. I put every LJN poster on my wall as a little kid. Wish I wouldn't have done that. Wish I would have kept them nice, but it is what it is. Ended up throwing them all away when we moved or something. That's the way it goes. But there's going to be 3 different style of posters. Now, I don't believe the packaging is going to be resealable on these, like the Major Bendies, for example. So you really don't know what poster you're getting unless you open them up. So I guess there is an extra degree of the hunt there. I can see some people buying extras just for that, opening up, not getting what I wanted, selling them loose. So there is that option in the future. But it is making a little bit more going on there. Mattel wants all your money. That's at the end of the day, that's the clear thing. All these toy companies, it's a business. We always have to remember it. There's no friends in this business. You try to be friendly, but at the end of the day, they want as much money as possible. They're going to throw a blue card, a black card, 3 different posters at you. They're going to re-release things that we love, that we had back in the day, where you might feel special as a collector because you got that original turtle set. Well, now Joe Blow can buy one at Walmart for $6 each, have it on there. It is what it is. That's just toy lines. A lot of the different toy lines have done the same thing. Constant learning, constant improvement is one thing I say on the channel all the time. That's where I would have liked to seen that Ultimate Warrior, that Hulk Hogan, constant learning. Take the greatness of the old ones, tweak them a little bit to make them even better. That's what I would have liked to see. And somebody's going to say, well, they got the tan on there. All right, I guess, whatever you want to say. Whatever convinces you on the inside. But I'm not a huge fan of that re-releasing. But it is, like I said, happening in many toy lines. Mattel, Hasbro, you name it, re-releases, name of the game. Gotta get the most out of your money. Gotta get the most out of your molds. We know how it goes by now. So we'll see where it all ends going. I'm very interested to see if Hulk Hogan gets put back in the mix. He is a heavy hitter. I do think we'll see a rise of the Hulk Hogan fandom nostalgia. Obviously, anytime somebody passes away, you know, things sell a little bit more. eBay. Have to imagine, I haven't been in a Target store in like a week, but there was a lot of clearance Hulk Hogans all over the place in the Ultimate Editions. I bet you all my stores are wiped out of those Hulksters by now. Nostalgia is a crazy thing, and especially when your heroes of your childhood especially pass away, maybe I do need that Hulk Hogan in my collection. So very interesting times. Going to be very interesting to see where these LJNs go in the future. I'm sitting there on the plane like, how am I going to reorganize my toy room? I already got to redo all these elites. I don't know when I'm going to find the time. I'm probably going to take like a week or two sabbatical from the channel. I've never done it in the past. I've had 4 videos every single day for couple of years now, at least one video every single day for 5 years now. But I might have to take a couple of weeks off as I'm going to have to redo my entire collection. These elites, I got to shift a bunch of stuff around, and I got to figure out a new way to display my LJNs, big rubber guys, Latuni, all that kind of stuff, because I'm seeing it between big rubber guys and LJN. I've got 3 Detolf spaces for those right now. That is nowhere near going to be enough room. Going to have to figure out a new way to display these guys. More on that in the future. So we'll see what happens, but going to have to take a break, I think, because I just don't got enough time in the day between my day job and everything else. It's barely keeping on. So we'll get to it eventually. But now we're going to get to something else. We're going to get to the big rubber guys. As I said, they had a stream, of course. I think it was Wednesday of San Diego Comic-Con preview night during the morning. I ended up watching it in the San Diego airport as I was waiting for Jeff George to get off his plane. But they came in hot with some big rubber guys news. Now, they did announce Jim Powers, Paul Roma, Hercules, of course, and the Rougeau brothers. Now, those guys are going to come in the future. We already knew Hercules. He was one of those vote getters you could vote on. More on that in a second here. But it looks like we can get Power and Glory from the big rubber guys, which would be awesome. We could also get Jim Powers and Paul Roma, the Young Stallions, from big rubber guys. I don't know how well that one would sell. A classic 80s tag team, a name tag team that always lost, really, is what they always felt like. But we do have those coming eventually to the big rubber guys. But the big announcement was the Nasty Boys as far as big rubber guys go. Brian Knobs, Jerry Sags, almost got it mixed up there, in their classic Hasbro looks, which I thought was a really cool idea as well. So the Nasty Boys is going to be very cool to be in that collection. We did see Sabu once again. We knew that one was coming a while back. Going to be cool. I am fully expecting a full line of big rubber guys of ECW, the Sandmans, the Ravens. There's a lot of meat on the bone right there. And with Brian Myers, part of the helm here, we're going to get all those. And it's barking up the right tree for me. Give me all the ECW guys. Man, oh man, I would love, just thinking of it right now off the top of my head, a Terry Funk, which obviously Mattel would have to do, but a big rubber guy Terry Funk would be amazing. A new LJN Terry Funk would be amazing. Obviously, we got the old school Terry. I want the more ECW, NWA version of Terry is what I'd like as well. Give me the striped pants or something different. I don't need the old Western cowboy one. We already had that once upon a time. But we do got Sabu coming as well. We did see, once again, that Matt Cardona WrestleCon exclusive here in the next couple of weeks, 1 of 500, so be on the lookout for that. And then it looks like Paul Ellering, talking of Hercules, is part of that vote with Hillbilly Jim, another one they do have access to. Paul Ellering is the winner there. Makes sense with the Road Warriors Legion of Dooms. You need that. My brain says I need 2 of them. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I'll do that or not. Maybe I can get a loose one or a damaged one or something, save a little bit of money, and we'll see what happens there. They also did announce Andre the Giant coming in the future and a new Sergeant Slaughter. Would love to see a new Sergeant Slaughter, of course, and Andre. But I could also see Mattel doing both those as LJNs in the future. So if I'm the major pod group there, I would try to rush those ones out to beat possibilities of Mattel. Hopefully they can end up doing that. It kind of felt like their live stream was, of course, the Wednesday morning before preview night. And I'm 100% sure they knew all about those LJNs coming. So I think they wanted to say, hey, let's get out there before that. Let's talk about that. Let's get our name out there. Makes total business sense, of course. But Andre coming, looks like it's going to be the Afro Andre. A disappointing Andre for me as an LJN kid, because when I got into wrestling, Andre didn't look like that. So it was really weird to me. Like, this is Andre, this big fro. But you know how that goes. But we're going to get that one, I guess, remade from the big rubber guys as well. Big news out of them was, of course, the big rubber guys, their heart and soul is wrestling, but they know to move the brand forward, especially with LJNs coming back. It's all about diversifying your portfolio. Oh, business 101, let's diversify that portfolio. But it looks like they did get the Major League Baseball license, and we're going to get mascots and maybe players. I'm ready for the Jose Canseco. Bring the Jose Canseco to me, and let's get that Terry Steinbach done while we're at it. Probably not to Terry, but I could see a Jose Canseco. There's enough meat there for sure. But we did see the Philly Fanatic and Mr. Met. Very, very cool, very nostalgic, very cool for Mets fans, Philly fans, mascot fans. Like, can we get the San Diego Chicken? Can we get all these different mascots from all these different NBA, MLB, NHL, whatever it may be? I think there's a lot of meat on the bone there for people that aren't even in this world. Like, oh my gosh, I love the Phillies, Philly Fanatic. Could they sell that in the team shop at, the Philadelphia Stadium? There's a lot of meat there, and I think there's a lot of money to be made. More than meets the eye like a young Transformers is what I'll say on that one. So very excited to see where that one goes. Now, this is, of course, the end of my completionist for the big rubber guys, unfortunately. You know, Kurt Sloan was right on the cusp of things. The brand new Kickboxer one I have not ordered yet. I'm still trying to decide. But now they're going to have all these mascots. And guess what? I'm a big Philadelphia Phillies fan. The A's always have my heart, but the National League side of things, Philadelphia Phillies were my team. I loved as a kid Darren Dutch, Dalton. Of course, a lot of great years with that Phillies team. You had Nails over there, Lenny Dykstra, John Kruk. Oh my gosh. We had Wild Thing over there. There's a lot of good stuff for Phillies fans back in the day. So the Philly Fanatic kind of interests me a little bit. Mr. Met, I just can't. Even though 86, I was a big Mets fan in 86 as well. I was living that Mookie Wilson life. Once you go full Mookie, you never go back, of course. Keith Hernandez, I was like 4 years old. I said, man, if I could just grow that Keith Hernandez mustache. You know, my aunt had a huge crush on Gary Carter back in the day, so I got some Mets roots as well. But I'll probably have to end up passing on those. I just don't know where they would end up going. But there is a little tie into wrestling and, of course, baseball. And this one I will jump into. Cincinnati Reds, Macho Man Randy Savage. And I think he had more time in the farm system of the Cardinals than the Reds, but I think a lot of people think Reds with Macho Man. But you know what? Why not both? I could see that happening in the future. But we're going to get repaints, and could we see more of that in the future? Hey, we're going to get a Macho Man for every single ball team. Man, oh man, I don't know. That's tough if you're a Macho completist there. But as much as I hate the Cincinnati Reds, Todd McFarlane, I'll never forget 1990. Never forget it. Never forget my trips to Cincinnati as well. Seeing the homeless people peeing right in front of me. I'm a little kid just dodging urine streams. It was a hard time as a little kid. I was scarred forever. And I remember trying Chick-fil-A for the first time ever in my life in Cincinnati. I'm like, man, these chicken nuggets are good. And of course, you know, you're 7, 8 years old, whatever I was. You're loving some chicken nuggets. So the Chick-fil-A ones were pretty tasty as a little kid. And it wasn't like till 10 years later they even came to my neck of the woods. And I'll always tell my dad, and I was like, remember that Chick-fil-A place? We'd both never heard of it before. So it was a wild time there. Old starting lineup conventions once upon a time. But Cincinnati, not my favorite town. Even though Kenner was there once upon a time. The Kroger building, if I'm not mistaken. Shout out to Kroger out there. But it'll be interesting to see where all this ends up going to. But the Cincinnati Reds, Macho Man, it's going to be a pickup for me. But now it gets controversial. And you can't have controversy with any of these big rubber guys, LJN lines. Mattel had their controversy with basically straight up re-releases, the Hulk Hogan tragedy, all that. Controversy going on over there. But then we got controversy with, of course, the big rubber guys here. Now, they did tell us, All In a couple of weeks ago, earlier in the month, that Toni Storm was coming. She was going to be the first Shop AEW figure. Well, we did see that, and they did announce the rest of the lineup there. So, of course, you got Toni Storm, you got Will Ospreay, you got Sting, and then, of course, you got Adam Hangman Page. So that is the foursome for the first series. But wait, there's more. If you buy all four, the bundle pack, you do get a chance for the Chase Toni Storm and Adam Hangman Page. Well, the hard part about that is you have to buy all four. Now it's going to get some people angry because I was one of the regular ones. Now I got this bloody Hangman. I didn't want that. I got this black and white Toni Storm. I didn't want that. I think there's going to be controversy there, much like we saw with Demolition, that people got one Chase, one regular. Their teams didn't match up. They weren't happy about that. I think the same thing is going to happen right here with this. So it's going to be interesting to see how that ends up going. But an even bigger controversy out of this was the price point on these. And man, it's unfortunate. If we've been buying from Shop AEW, I've been buying the Unrivaled figures, their exclusives there. It's absolutely ridiculous. They charge you shipping and handling, and they charge exorbitant shipping costs. We saw that again here with these four. Made a lot of people turned off by this. But thankfully, there was a code up there. It was like Hangman 20 or something like that, or 25. You could save money off your purchase. So I immediately did that. I'm like, well, at least I feel better about it. It took off almost half of a figure's price. That was a good deal for me. Felt good about it. But then the next day I checked my email, get an email from Pro Wrestling Tees. Whoops, we made a mistake. You owe us $30. If you don't put your $30 in within the next week, we're canceling your order. Come on. What are we doing? That is a terrible business practice. Whether or not that code was supposed to work or not, it worked. It went through. You got to honor that if you're a business. And they clearly did not want to honor it. They sent that out, and you will be canceled if you don't pay that. I heard from many people that said, I was all in on these, and then I was out when I saw the pricing, and then I got this discount. I felt a little bit better about it. I felt like I'm going to give it a try. They come back, ask for this 30. I'm totally out. I think it is going to hurt sales on these. I know the Major Bendy's team, I'm just saying off the top of my head, I'm sure they like the Shop AEW aspect of them taking care of everything. They ship it all to them. It's their problem. It's like Mattel and the WWE Superstars, for example. Mattel gives them their order, or Walmart gives Mattel their order. They send it. They say, our hands are clean. They're their superstars now, not ours. They're not going to scream that to the world if you're Mattel, but it's Walmart's problem, not ours anymore. We fulfill the order. Major Bendy's Big Rubber Guys, same thing. They ordered this many. They fulfilled it. It's their deal. However, the majority of consumers, they're not going to be blaming Pro Wrestling Tees. They're going to blame Major Bendy's, which isn't fair because it is Pro Wrestling Tees dance at the end of the day. They're the ones shipping it. They're fulfilling it. All that kind of stuff. They can choose what they want to do. It's their business after all. I don't know where that ends up going, but I think that did put a dark cloud over Series 1 on this one, just by the feedback I saw online and that was sent to me. So many people said, hey, I was all in, I am totally out now, or I'm just buying Sting, whatever it may be. Just disappointing how that went, because we all work hard for our money, and it's an expensive game, and to see how much more expensive they are via Pro Wrestling Tees compared to when the Major Brothers, Major Bendy's are doing it, it just hurts. It does definitely hurt there. So it's a lot. It's a lot of shipping and handling. There's a lot going on with that. But I am interested to see how these go. It'll be interesting to see what the cadence is here, because money's tight for a lot of people. If you're collecting a lot of toy lines like myself, you got to pick and choose. You got to make some decisions. I'm looking at some future. That's so hard to say goodbyes right now. Like, okay, I'm going to need this real estate. Maybe I'm not feeling this, whatever it may be. We're going to see where it ends up going there. But hard times if you're a completist in a lot of these lines, especially Big Rubber Guys, as they branch off to new properties. And you have to imagine they're working on new properties right now behind the scenes. So it's going to be a pick and choose game, I think, going forward for myself and probably many of you if you're not there already. But we'll see. We'll see where it all ends up going. But that is a long-winded rant on the Big Rubber Guys style and LJNs. Another note here from Latuni. Latuni, great quality. I got to say, those Latunis feel the closest to the LJN figures, if you ask me. We did see the Giant Machine go up, 1 of 300 edition. Fits in the LJN style as well with the Andre the Giant stuff. And it looks like we'll get a blue Andre in the future. Of course, Latuni's never been shy about getting the most out of their molds with many a Macho Man, many of Andres. We've seen it and we'll continue to see that from them. But this will hurt Latuni's sale with more Big Rubber Guys and now LJNs jumping in. There's only so much marketplace. We've seen it with retros. Now we're going to start seeing it with the Big Rubber Guy style figures and the LJNs, etc. So interesting times if you're a fan of 80s classic wrestling figures. Going to be very interesting to see where it all goes, and we will pay attention to it here on the channel. So make sure you subscribe to this channel and my other YouTube channel. 2 channels, videos every single day for you. Patreon, YouTube channel memberships, your best way to support the channel and all the content. And I need the support, Todd. I need the support, let me tell you. But there's a lot going on, as we know, but we'll keep up to date with all of it here on the channels. Sir Paul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, and of course, Kyle Peterson Show at gmail.com. That is the email address for the show if you want to email me. And of course, that is my podcast. Each and every Tuesday, my beautiful wife, Angie, joins me. And oh my gosh, Todd, you were saying, where's Angie? Where's Angie? I said, she's not here. She didn't come to San Diego with me. But a lot of people looking for Angie in San Diego. They were disappointed. They just had to see me, unfortunately. But maybe next year, maybe not. Maybe not. Who knows? But check out the Kyle Peterson Show, wherever podcasts are found, videocast on YouTube. So for a little San Diego Comic-Con recap, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.
Well, are we gonna dance or are we gonna play?
Get that real